Hello drone racers, I'm back again with the Eachine E013 Angry Bird, Cardinal, Small Pepper, Hot Pepper, Cayenne, I don't know what it's called, whatever. This thing with the angry eyes. So I hated it in my review because it was pretty much garbage, but a whole bunch of people said, oh, well, you're just on the wrong channel. And I went and checked and I wasn't on the wrong channel, but I have gotten it to work. So just the next day, I've able to do a few things to get it work. So in this case, we're gonna do a few mods that I think are necessary for this drone that will make it much better, at least. We're gonna go with much better. I'm also gonna cover the batteries, which I forgot to post in the last video that I used for this, because almost all the flights that you saw, actually I think all the flights except for the hover test, were using one battery. So I got a lot of flight footage out of that one battery. So I'll show you what those are also. First, about the video. These goggles, you know what, they ended up being okay. The channel I had was on right, so here's the part of the manual that covers the frequencies, and it shows you that it's pretty standard. The top row is your channel, the bottom row is your frequency. And it does have a nice table because the goggles don't show you the channel and frequency, they show you the actual frequency number in megahertz that you're on. In this case, what I've had to do, what I did was I've just tried 5 different frequencies until I found one that looked good. And from the corner of my basement where with what I was on last night wasn't even flyable, I'm able to fly around my basement. It still breaks up a little more than I would like and more than the circular antennas do, but it's totally usable. The one I settled on was band 1 channel 4. This is frequency 5805. I tried a low frequency, I tried a high frequency. These antennas are actually tuned into a specific frequency, so I was trying to find the closest one. The low ones were pretty good. The high ones, the higher I went, it was bad. So kind of right in the middle, right on 5800 was the best option for me. To do that, at first I took out these screws and looked and the lights are on the back, but it's actually easier than that. So this opening is just big enough that you can see. So they're all the way on the first blue LED shows me my band that I'm on. And to change it, there's the button here. They were convenient enough to open this up. Hold this button down for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And this light LED right here will start flashing. That way you know it's ready to change. So hold that down. It'll flash and then you switch. And you hold it down, you flash, and it'll switch. So I'm gonna go back to band 1. So there, I'm all the way back on 1. And then the channel is just a quick press and it's the red LED. So it just switches along here. I'll go back to 1 so I know where I'm at. There we go, it's all, oh wait, where is it? There it is. One more. There we go, now it's all the way over there. So there's 1, I wanna be on what, 4? I wanna be on 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there I'm at 5805, which worked pretty well for me, but I still have a broken frame. I'm gonna stand behind, this is a bad frame. It's just bad. So what I've got, and I showed in that video, is the Eachine E10S frame, which is a little bit lighter than the one that comes on the C, which I think is gonna be required here. I'm going to transfer these guts over to this frame, and this frame doesn't cost hardly anything. I should look these things up before, but it's just a couple of dollars. So I think this is gonna be well worth it. We're gonna find out. In order to do that, I am going to take off the top here. Oh, and if you didn't see that video, another problem that I had that we're gonna have to cover here. See this antenna? So this is the receiver antenna. I had terrible range problems with this where it didn't have a failsafe to drop out of the sky. It would just keep flying. So if you flew too far away outside, I think this would just completely fly away on you. So be careful of that. Even in my house though, when I would go too far away, I would lose signal and it would just fly into the wall and keep going. I just cut a little bitty hole here in the corner. You don't want it right next to the transmitter. So I put it up in this corner and just stuck this, it's a nice stiff antenna, up through this top here, and that works out really well, and that totally improved the range for flight on this. So there's mod number 2. Number 1 is changing your channel, so then the signal looks good, and we'll look at that after we make these changes here and do some testing. Mod 2 is cut a hole and stick your antenna through there. Mod 3, just throw away this piece of garbage frame completely. So the screws are out, and this will come off. Fortunately, there's not a socket here, so we're gonna have to be careful, and I don't wanna have to unsolder this and resolder it. Your motors are just pressed in here, so I'm going to just pull these off. I don't think this came with a tool for removing the props. No, it did not. So some of these come with a prop remover tool. I won't count on you having one for that, but in this case, all you have to do is just squeeze them and they come off pretty easily. And if you damage them, you have a spare set. So it's not the end of the world. From here, these wires are run through a channel. So you've got to make sure before you pull these out, you pull these motor wires out of the channel so it doesn't get caught on the frame. And these motors are just pressed in. So all you have to do is push these forward a little bit. There are tools to do this with, but I'm going to assume none of you have one. It is tight, so I'm going to use the back of my X-Acto knife. Be very, very careful with this and do not cut these wires. Okay, so I'm going to get all 4 of these wires out and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so where I forgot to turn my camera back on, I've gone a few steps further. I have unsoldered the motor wires from the board. It doesn't take much, just a little cheap soldering iron will be able to do it. Just heat those up and pull the wire off. And then this board was just here with 2 screws. So you take that off and that's really all there is to it. You get the wires loose like I did, pull the wires off, and then the motors will pop out from the top here. On the new frame, I'm going to go ahead and put the motors in first and then I'll screw in the board just to make it a little easier to work with. We have a red and blue motor in the upper left-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner, and then the black and white wires are in the back left and front right. So slide the wire through here and get it fed through the bottom on all of these, and then just push the motor in. We're going to see, I think it'll be an easy fit. There we go. And it looks like it is a good fit. Make sure the wires are fed through on the inside here. And then we just need to put these back through the track. And I'll use my, my knife, being extremely careful again, through in the back of it. See if I can see here. Through the notch on the bottom. Now there's no twist to this wire. Sometimes these wires are really twisted to help prevent crosstalk, I would guess. That's why we normally twist wires. I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of needle nose pliers too. I think it'll make it a little easier to feed these through on this side. And then there's a little notch here you can put the wire through to hold it in place, and that will just keep it from getting caught even more. So there's one. I'll go ahead and do the rest of them and then we'll put the board on. So this is what happens when you rush. You put them all in backwards and then you get to take them all back out and do it again. See, these go the other way. There we go. Now with all the wires in the right place, all the motors in the right place, the wires are tucked in. Ooh, actually that one came out. I'm going to tuck that one back up underneath. But the next step is to attach the light controller again, and the front of the board is pretty obvious. It's the front. The battery connections are on the back. The antenna's on the front. And the screw all the way at the front is the front of it. You can tell easiest on the bottom. The open side is toward the back. So we just need to put this on here. And the screws should line up because they make all of these pretty well universal, which is really nice. And then we'll be ready for some soldering. Now we have to solder the wires back on, and it's pretty easy. I don't think I got this part recorded before. The positive is on the inside on both of these, and it's pretty clearly marked. And that is the red for the front motors, for the red and blue motors, and the white for the black and white motors. So you're going to want to solder the red wire on the positive, and then the blue wire on the negative, and the white wire on the positive, and the black wire on the negative. I don't think I'm going to need to add any more solder. I think these will go on and connect really easy, just with a little bit of a press. Everything will just remelt together, and with a little pressure it'll hold in place. There we go. So this should be about the easiest soldering you'll ever have to do. They're nice big pads, easy to work with. It's not very shiny, but it's going to be a good enough connection for what we've got going here with this low voltage. So I'm going to go through and do all 4 of these. We'll take a look and then we'll put the body back on. Okay, at this point you want to double check your wiring. We have the positives, the red and the white, and then the black and the blue are in place on both sides here. So the extra wire, what I'm going to do is what I think it was before, just kind of fold it here up over the circuit board, and hopefully it's secured well enough with this solder that it won't be in the way, or hopefully it's secured enough with the solder that it will stay connected. If it doesn't, it wasn't good enough. I did have one pad that I had to add a little extra solder to, just because it came off on my soldering iron and then it just didn't look good. So I added a little more solder to that pad. Other than that, I bent all those there out of the way and they look good. One thing to try and avoid that I actually did, so I'll warn you so you can not do it. A couple times I wasn't paying attention and the soldering iron actually touched this antenna and the plastic turned black on me. So try and avoid that. The props now, all they do is press on. They don't screw on, they don't do anything fancy. There's a hole in the middle and there's a shaft right there. You just push it on and they stay on probably well enough. If you have any that have gotten mangled already, grab some spares. I had one that was a little off, but I straightened it out and it seemed fine, so I'm not going to worry about it. I think these will be fine. Now the last step is just to reinstall the antenna. I am going to keep this antenna sticking through here because that greatly increased my signal. And again, this frame has the exact same holes in the same place, so you'll be able to use the same screws in the corners to hold the body on. There we go. I kind of like it with the white frame too. So I believe that was upgrade number 3. Number 4, as I mentioned earlier, I use different batteries in this. When I was flying it last night, it flew forever on one battery, and it flew for 3.5 minutes with the stock battery. This is a 30C 260 milliamp battery. These are actually the batteries that come with the E013. But you can buy a 5-pack of these for $16 with the charger. So I will link that down below. I highly recommend it. But now it probably won't fit in this frame. So it does, but there's a problem. This is the part I forgot to record last night. You can't get to the battery connector. So it's a really easy fix, and you shouldn't have any problem as long as you have an X-Acto knife. All you have to do is cut this end piece off here. And so trim these edge pieces. Just go down. I probably should have done this before I put the motors back on. And does it weaken the integrity of the frame? Maybe a little, but I don't think enough. That's what caused my problem yesterday. And what I want to do is leave the bottom part in here. I don't want to take that off just because that adds a little extra strength. So I'm just going to run this along that seam until it gets weak. There we go. I'm starting to go through it, and then I can just cut through that piece. Be careful. Please don't cut yourself. I will not be responsible for hospital visits. Right on the edge there. There we go. Just cut through that last little bit. And then after doing that, now when I slide the battery through, it will slide through all the way far enough that I can connect the battery. So now I can connect the battery, and we hope there's no smoke. There we go. I can actually see the light a little better now. Now, with the motor up, down, and hey, 4 turning motors. What do you know? You'd think I would have put it on enough props but at this point that I would know how they go on, but I didn't pay any attention at all when I put it on. Maybe you noticed that earlier. I just popped them all on. Hey, no big deal, right? Oh, they were wrong. So I believe they're going to go the same as the regular 5-inch props, where the scoop is to the inside. It spins this direction. So I guess we'll find out. I've never really paid any attention to which way these tiny props turn. There we go. We can hover. So now we've got a number of upgrades. We've got a better battery. We have a much stronger frame. We figured out a video frequency that works. Now let's go take a look at a test flight. Yay! Now I'm standing in my regular spot, which didn't work last night. I'm wearing the EV800Ds, and you're looking at the included goggles. This flight is with the, let's turn up the rate mode. This flight is with the stock battery, just to see how it looks. I've flown all the other packs in here with the 2600s that I showed you, or the 260 milliamps. So we'll see how this one goes. The flight characteristics are about the same, but those batteries have been lasting a long time. I actually haven't worn any out yet. Now, video-wise, I have a really good signal. I'm on the right channel. There's no question about it. Same thing for the view that you're looking at. This is the frequency after trying several that worked the best for me. So it was able to lock in. I want to show you a couple of things here. So we've got the flight, and we'll fly here. So one of the things I complained about was the yaw. So here's the thing with the yaw. It's digital. I'm almost positive. If I turn the yaw just a little bit, turning, there it finally turned. That's the minimum that I can yaw. Oh, hello, get out of the way. That's the minimum that I can get it to yaw. And even if I move the whole stick, it doesn't seem to matter how far I move the stick, it turns at the same rate. It either yaws or it doesn't. So there's no, like if I want to roll just a little bit, I can roll just a little bit. If I want to pitch just a little bit, I can pitch just a little bit. If I want to yaw just a little bit, nope, can't do it. So that definitely affects the flight characteristics. You get used to it, and it's not bad. But the video problems that I complained about yesterday are, I'm going to say, mostly gone. This works just fine now. Part of what might have caused my problems that I found was that every time I turned on the VR 600s, I was on a different channel. So it's entirely possible that I was on a different channel. A couple times that I powered them on since setting it to 5805, it has changed. But one of the reasons I do like these, and the C is the same way, is, see this? Watch this. Yeah! I can't do that with a micro quad inside. Oh, didn't do it that time. Oh yeah, and I forgot. This is my second flight in here. Look, see this? There's no toys on the floor. My kids cleaned the basement. This won't last. You won't see this again. Well, kind of. Oh wait, no, the track is actually together. Look at that. Anyway. Oh, I can't get it rolled this time. Roll again. Come on. No. It might be because of a low battery. Do I see flashing lights? I don't. So this battery, the couple times I have flown it, hasn't flown very long. As I mentioned, the aftermarket batteries, get the 5-pack, those work way better. But you know what? With this frame, I trust the durability. It fixed that. Changing the channel to a different channel that I'm absolutely sure I'm on seems to have made this okay. We'll judge the other goggles once we test them, or once I get to see that video. But I guess you know how it is. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe you can't see a thing. So the question is, do you want to make the frame change? That's the big thing. Oh, hello. Aww. I just watched some of the video of what you were seeing, and it was usable. I mean, it was way better than it was last night, but it was night and day different and better in the EV800Ds. Just so much better than what it looked like in the 600s. So just with reception alone, even though I have circular antennas on there, I do have a patch on those, so it was pointing that direction. That may have been enough to make a difference, but it was a humongous difference how much better it was with the 800Ds. But look, hey, I didn't break the frame. I haven't broken anything. Nothing's cracked. It's totally good to go. Also, that battery was dead. The included battery doesn't seem very good. The 260 milliamp battery, I will say, flies probably twice as long. So get that battery. It is way better with this. One little mod there to cut it out, and this same thing worked with the stock one. I did do that same cutout, so just do that and get those batteries if you do order this. And I'm gonna say it's okay. I would, if you want this isn't bad now. The frame I still don't like, but if you put the other frame in, it was $2.50 for this frame. A few minutes, took me 10 minutes probably to fix it, to swap it over, but I don't like the goggles. I would save up and buy the 800Ds instead. I think they are so much better than these that the drone is okay. I don't know if I would do this over the C. I'd probably still buy the C because I think the yaw works better on the C. The 800Ds just work way better than this. But I do feel better. At least it's passable. It's not great. And for the package for $65, it's okay. It's way better now than the DR1 AirHogs package. I would recommend this over that. Even though the option to look through the camera on your phone was really slick and really handy to be able to walk around with, this is FPV-able. That was not. I couldn't even dream of doing this with that thing. So, but this isn't about that. This is about this. So what do we do here? So I think we had a total of 4 mods. First, we cut the hole in to get the reception way better. This worked much better. I had full signal everywhere I have flown. I have not lost signal since doing this. I changed the frame to something way more durable. There's a $2.50 investment. I upgraded the batteries to these 260 milliamp batteries that last, I swear they last twice as long as the stock ones. And for 5 with the charger for 15, 18 bucks, something like that. Just get those. Oh, and then setting the channel. So just changing the channel seemed to have helped a lot. And it's pretty easy to do since you can see the light through there to get it set. So hopefully that helps you get that going. It's still not my favorite. I would still recommend the Tiny 6 or E10S and a real radio and real goggles over this, but there you're looking at $200 versus $60. If you're looking at this, I'll post that combination down below so you can see what it looks like also, because it's a much better long-term investment. But there are a ton of people who want to get an FPV kit for Christmas for someone just to get them started. And this isn't too bad for that. For $60 will be in a lot of people's Christmas budgets, and I think that's where this is going to fit. And you can fly it around the house and you can get a couple of them and race them together, and it would be okay until you break the frame. And hey, if that's happened to you and you're just checking out this video on how to fix that now, welcome to Drone Racer 101. Make sure you subscribe. But until next time, remember,